Hey guys, this is Michael with Cloud Alien Marketing, and today I'm going to talk to you about Google campaign creation. So you've already looked at SpyFu, you've looked at a lot of things I've showed you up to this point in this series of how to do pay-per-call marketing. Today we're going to talk about four different things. Talk about positive and negative keywords. We're going to talk about the keyword cone, campaign geometry, and smart Google advertising. So a lot of guys will kind of give you the theory of how things work. In this sense, what I'm going to show you is kind of theory, but at the same time, I really want you to understand this stuff. So I'm going to get really into the weeds here with you guys to show you how this stuff works. Let's go ahead and get started. So positive keywords, you can just say keywords in this sense. There's 5 different variants. There's broad, there's a blend, a broad match modifiers, phrase, and exact. Now, a broad would be just plumber near me, for example. So this is how you would put this in your Google campaign, your AdWords campaign. If you want to do a blend meaning it's a blend between the broad and the broad match modifier, you would put a plus sign next to whatever word you want to ensure that shows in whatever that search term may be. So in this case, plumber needs to show up. Near me is broad. So this is defined and this is broad. That's why it's the second in the category here. Now the broad match modifier is a little more tight in the fact that these 3 words have to be within the search term itself. Not necessarily in this order, but they have to be within the search term itself. Phrase plumber near me with the quotation marks needs to be within the actual search term in this order. So plumber near me. And then exact means somebody typed in Google in the search bar plumber near me. So we'll see how this works here in a little bit, but we'll talk about negative keywords. Negative keywords are keywords that you just do not want in your campaign. They're not going to do anything for you except run up your ad spend. So in this sense, broad would be how to become a plumber. So if you want a plumber to come out in the middle of the night and you're running a pay-per-call offer, how to become would definitely be a negative keyword. Now this phrase, I know it's 3 words, how to become, but this is considered a negative keyword. 3 words, but in essence, it's 1 negative keyword. Phrase would be plumber jobs. You're not going to obviously want this in your, if someone's typing this exactly, obviously you don't want that to show up in your plumbing campaign, especially if you want them to come out because you have a leaky faucet or however you're driving your campaign. Now, exact plumber careers, for example, I just had to throw this out there, but career, for example, would be a negative keyword. Now, this being the exact search, obviously you don't have to get in your actual negative keywords. This would be like just at a campaign level, like jobs, careers, how to become. All those would be at a campaign level negative keywords. So let's go ahead and look at the keyword cone here. Now the keyword cone, you can see my ad here down here. This very top part is the very broad sense, and I'll go ahead and click on this here. Show you plumber near me, for example. Now this is very broad. It could be plumber around me, close to me, around my neighborhood, something to that extent. And I'll show you how this works here when we talk more about how Google thinks. But I want you to think that you're attracting a really big audience out here when you go with broad. When you blend, in other words, you have a broad match modifier and a broad word, it's a little tighter. So plumber near me, you're saying to Google, I want whoever is putting in the Google search bar, plumber, so that word has to be within the search term, near me. Near me is broad, so it can be around me and so forth, and I'll show you how this works here in a little bit. Now, broad match modifier, plumber near me, you can see it's getting tighter. you're going to have a lot less people probably searching for this, but these three words have to be within the search term itself, not necessarily in this order. Now, phrase has to be within this order. So plumber near me, it has to be within this order, and I'll show you how this works here in a little bit. Exact is the brackets, plumber near me. So in other words, if somebody were out here, they're searching on Google and they type in plumber near me, exact, like it is here, it would fall all the way down and you would show your ad if in fact you had a good quality score and you're bidding high enough, and somebody clicked on your ad, obviously, and you would have an impression there, but you'd have to have a decent quality score, and you would also have your ad would have to float to the top. So you'd have to be bidding high enough for your ad to show for that particular keyword. So what I really want you to do is think like Google. How does Google think? This is extremely important. And I can't stress this anymore, but you have to start thinking like Google if you want to be a good AdWords PPC guy. So if someone were to type in plumber near me, it could be plumber school close to me. This could be a search term because you see here, plumber near me is very broad. So in this case, somebody typed in plumber, which is, you can see here the word plumber, school. Now that could be another word thrown in there because it's very broad. And close is a reference to near, to me, or just me. So you can see how this can be very broad, but you would want school. Obviously, I have it in the color red here because it would be a negative keyword. So in the second sense here, the plumber near me with the broad match modifier on plumber, plumber has to be within the sentence, but it could be plumber around the corner from my house, for example. So this talks about direction. So around would be direction. From my house, my would be an idea of me. So this is kind of what Google's algorithm is thinking. So around the corner, this is kind of a location, could be, interpreted by Google's algorithm as being, around the corner, for example. Now in this next one, it could be plumber near me, or cost of a plumber snake at the Home Depot near me. So you see the word plumber and near me, so plumber near me has to be within the search term, but you see the negative keywords that show up here, like snake or Home Depot. You would definitely not want those in your campaign. And this next one here, plumber near me that has parts. So plumber near me has to be within the search phrase exactly if this is a phrase. So plumber near me, and then this last one that has parts. So I would say parts would definitely be a negative keyword in this case. Oops, I keep doing that. And now plumber near me would be exact. So that's exactly how it would show up, and it would drop to the bottom. And if you're bidding high enough, you had a decent quality score, your ad would show, and hopefully you would get a click. So all the negative keywords we see here: school, corner, snake, Home Depot, and parts. All these I would definitely have in my negative keyword column. And you could put them either in your ad group column or in your campaign level. So ad group level or campaign level, depending on how you want to structure your campaign. So the campaign geometry. The name of the campaign, in this case, like let's say Ring Partner Plumber campaign, is at the very top. A campaign is composed of ad groups, and in each ad group you have ads, and in each ad group you also have keywords. So the way I structure my campaign is the following. So I would say plumber for ad group, and within the ad group itself, I always have at a minimum 2 ads. The reason why is because I want to optimize, kind of an A/B split test here. I want to make sure that, hey, if this ad is doing better than this ad, and then I'm going to go ahead and turn the other ad off to ensure that I get more clicks going to a certain ad. So that's why you want to optimize. And then I always play around with this as well. I always try to write better ad copy, and I always try to optimize as much as possible. So in each ad group, I always have at least 4 keywords per ad group, and this is for optimization. And all these keywords are very similar in a sense, and I'll show that to you here in a little bit, but they all are somewhat similar in the ad group itself, and we'll go ahead and continue. But this is the structure or the geometry of a campaign. Now, I want to talk about smart Google advertising. And this is, I'm going to go through probably like 3 or 4 variants here, but I really want you to start thinking about how Google thinks. Not how about you think, but how Google actually thinks. So what you want to do, and I didn't put these in any particular order. I just want to go ahead and put them out here, but avoid conflicting keywords within the same or across different ad groups. So in this case, this is an example. In ad group number 1, I have these different keywords: cheap plumber, plumber near me, plumber exact, and plumber phrase. In the second ad group, I have plumber near me. So you can kind of see this plumber near me and plumber near me. These two would be very similar, and they would be competing against each other. So these two, you would essentially have 2 ad groups competing against each other with these 2 keywords. Then you have emergency plumber, 24/7 plumber, and then affordable and cheap plumber. So affordable and cheap. So if you start thinking like Google here, you would get rid of, say, one of these, or you'd get both of these, but you get rid of these 2, so that you would only have in this one ad group you would have this. The second ad group you'd have this. So in other words, you don't want to be competing. You don't want to have competing ad groups. I know that might be not so clear, but at the same time, you don't want to have keywords in one ad group competing against keywords in another ad group. And next thing you know, you're bidding on one $5, another one's $5.50. I mean, what's going to get the impressions there? So you might have one ad group not getting as many impressions and so forth. So that you want to steer clear away from that. I want to bring that up, and I see this being a very big problem and I've seen a lot of different Google campaigns out there, and I've seen a lot of these problems. So this is just something that I wanted to highlight as a huge problem I've seen out there. So smart Google advertising part 2 here. You want to either improve or delete keywords with a quality score of 5 or below. That doesn't mean if you have a 3, just get rid of it. Try to improve it first, and you always want to shoot for a quality score of 7 or greater. Now, if you don't know what quality score is, then start studying Google AdWords. If you want to do pay-per-call marketing, I highly recommend studying Google. So you want to always try to improve your click-through rate by changing your ad copy is probably the best way. A click-through rate of 1% or higher is considered really good for Google. So you want to shoot for that as much as possible. You want to keep testing new keywords in ad copy, and by doing that, you're essentially trying to improve your click-through rate. And you want to begin day parting your campaigns for optimization. Now, you want to have enough data before you do this. You don't want to start off day parting something unless you have to. For example, some offers are only valid from 8 to 5 in the afternoon. So you definitely have to day part then. But for example, if conversions only happen after 5 p.m. on weekdays, then you could eliminate the other days, like the weekends, for example. So I just want to bring that to your attention. I want you to study your data, essentially. So when you start getting more and more data, after about a good month's worth, or maybe a week, depending on how much you're bidding, you can really see the data, get that information right away, and then start putting some constraints on your campaign. There's a little bit more about smart Google advertising. You want to listen to all your calls for hints of positive and negative keywords that you can add to your campaign. I recommend calltrackingmetrics.com. They're really good. I know a lot of people using this service, and they're really good, so you can do that. I use Twilio. I didn't put it up here, but it's just a different variant of call tracking metrics. You want to use call-out extensions in your ads. Now, if you don't know what call out extensions are, I left this blank. I want you to look that up. I purposely left this blank because I want you to learn about call out extensions. So Google it. Make sure you understand that and how they work within your ads. And this next point, I've seen this so many times. Do not make up any keywords or use keywords with no PPC history, pay-per-click history. Now, this is very important. You could do this, and you could, unless you really want slow traffic, you could do this, but I recommend not doing this. Now, use SpyFu and KeywordSpy.com, for example, to check the PPC history of a particular keyword. You know, it could be something that just does not ever show up, but once out of the blue moon, you know, only happens in, I don't know, Podunk, Michigan somewhere. So, you know, you really want keywords with traffic. You know, this is performance marketing. You know, you can try if you want to use a keyword that's just way out there. It may never show up in your ad. So, or, you know, someone may never type it in. So you really want to steer clear from that. At least I do, because I want quick results. You know, for me, this is a business. I want to get traffic as soon as possible. Get to know your Google rep. Call them up. Ask them questions. You know, pick their brains. Ask them, hey, what can I do better in my campaign? Some of these guys know a lot of information. Some of these guys don't know that much information. So it's kind of hit and miss, but at least start picking their brains a little bit. All right, smart Google advertising number 4 here. You want to study your search terms daily and continually. Add negative keywords to tighten up your campaign. This means you're going to be looking at your search terms on a daily basis. You're going to be listening to calls, and you're going to want to find those positive, negative keywords to tighten up your campaign. What this means is you're continually optimizing that campaign. You're continually just, you know, you're kind of like trimming, you're pruning this campaign at all times. You want to steadily increase your budget and expand your reach when you start breaking even or getting a positive ROI. As soon as you start breaking even or getting a positive ROI, raise that budget immediately, because this is going to let Google know, hey, these guys are in business. These guys really want to make money, so we're going to give them more impressions. Okay, so more impressions could lead to more clicks, which could lead to more profit. So that's exactly what you want to do there. Now, understand your offer thoroughly and learn how Google views your offer through their lens. Now, I say here, I can write an entire novel here. I mean it. I mean, there's so many guys that will just launch a campaign, will have no clue about the subject matter, about their offer, about anything. They'll just blindly start throwing traffic at it. And these are the guys that Google loves because they're making a ton of money of all these new guys out there that have no idea what they're doing. You have to thoroughly understand that offer. I'm talking about the niche, whatever that niche or offer that you're working on, understand it completely. What are people looking for? And there's a lot of little marketing tools, a lot of little marketing techniques, what I like to refer to as ninja tactics. There's a lot of things out there that you have to learn to understand that offer completely. And, you know, I'm giving you this information for free essentially, but there's a lot of pitfalls, and I've seen this. And like I said, I can write an entire novel here because there's so many guys that just throw up a landing page and start throwing Google traffic at it and wish for the best. And I'm sorry, but that's not how you do it. And it's never going to work that way. All right, so just want to leave you guys here with a high quality score will lead to cheaper clicks. So, you know, you want to make sure your landing page, your ad copy, all that stuff is working really well. So you want to work really hard on improving your meta tags, your descriptions, and focus keywords in your landing page. Now, I use Yoast SEO WordPress plugin because I use, you know, all my landing pages. I create them with Thrive Themes. You go to thrivetheme.info to get it. And it's a great source. Now, there's Unbounce. There's a lot of other places out there. I like this place because it's a one-time fee. You buy the landing page, you buy the content builder, and you start making your own landing page. It's simple. It's extremely simple. What I like to do is I didn't put it in here, but I use Adplexity to go out and find landing pages that are actually working, and then I just copy them, just replicate them. But I replicate them with Thrive Themes. So, you know, I don't like recreating the wheel. I like knowing, defined data, if you will. I'd like to know that, hey, this data represents something that actually works, so I'm going to use it as well. Use Google Maps Contact Extractor, and I'll have more videos on this in Scrapebox, to find both positive and negative keywords. This is huge. A lot of people don't know how to do this, but it is probably the most powerful thing for you to use to actually find these keywords. And I'm going to make a video, and I'm going to share it with you guys. And you're going to be able to learn how to retarget your pay-per-call traffic. You can go here to learn.cloudalien.com. Of course, I'm promoting my own stuff here, but honestly, guys, don't get caught in this trap. Don't get caught in not knowing this information, because there's so many little things that can bite you literally in the ass, and you can just start throwing your money at Google, just giving it to them. So in order not to do that, prevent that, you want to make sure your campaign is extremely tight from the onset of your campaign. Before you even launch any traffic, you want to make sure you have every negative keyword you can possibly imagine in there. I'll give you guys some keywords as well with this post, but I really want you guys to just focus in, especially if you read my blog. I really appreciate you guys here, but I really want you guys to focus in on what you're doing, understanding your offer, understanding how Google thinks, understanding the entire aspect of what you're doing. You're trying to buy traffic to a landing page, to an offer, and the whole process. It sounds very simple, the big picture, but there is a lot of things that can really get you. So I really want to show you as much as I possibly can, so that you're not spending money, you're actually making money.